So this session's going to be very interactive. I expect people to talk and engage, and we are going to be doing some really hands-on interactive demos in this. More than likely, we won't be releasing this video because I'm going to potentially go down a rabbit hole that will show some stuff that is internal, but not NDA. So today's session, we're going to talk about vibe coding. Bye, Chris.
I thought that was part of the stint. Vibe coding.
Exactly. So, jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about vibe coding, and what we're using for vibe coding today is VS Code. How many people use VS Code today? Wow. Okay. I'd be surprised if you weren't using it. But what we also have set up over here is our GitHub Copilot. So how many people have heard of GitHub Copilot? How many people have used GitHub Copilot? Right. So this is where we're going to have a bit of fun, because it's not just for developers, and it doesn't just write code. It does so much more than writing code. But today we're doing vibe coding. We're going to make our life easy. We're going to just do a really, really simple hello world app. And we will be using the vibe stick. We'll get to that in a minute. But we're just going to do a simple hello world app. So we want to create, and I'm just going to do this.
What app is this?
This is Visual Studio Code. Okay. The insider build. That's why it's got the nice little green icon up the top corner. And this is GitHub Copilot. So what I'm going to do quickly, because I jumped forward and I'm really bad at that. So up here, you'll see toggle chat. I've already signed into GitHub Copilot because apparently we get it included with our licensing. Yay.
So this is a paid feature.
Yes, this is very much a paid feature.
Because isn't there some GitHub Copilot that is free?
I don't know. I'm not a licensing expert.
Yeah.
Everybody has E5.
Well, but I thought there was some GitHub thing that was.
It's free for a while and then it makes it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a freemium model, is what I'm assuming and what I'm hearing. But what I would suggest is it's actually not that expensive when you start drilling into it. This is the guy not paying for it, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah,
So
it's $10 a month.
create a website using HTML, CSS as a light bulb with a switch that will turn on and off. So now what we're going to do, we've kept it really simple. And we said, all right, go and create us a simple website that's a HTML site that is CSS. The reason why we're saying HTML is because it'll be a single file. Yeah, nice and easy. CSS because we can play around with style sheets and we can do some really cool stuff with it. So what this will now go off and do is it's iterating and it's created us index.html. We have our style sheet and it will sit there and it will run for an hour or so. And it's going to come up with our website ready to go. So we can sit there and just double click on this and it'll just open here. That's cool. That's HTML. Don't care. I'm not a developer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go copy path. We're just going to paste it in here. And we're going to say, yep, open it in Edge. Here is our light bulb. It's on. It's off. You saw how little information I put into that to create that website, right? Freaking simple. So what else should we add to the light bulb?
I'd like to change colors on the bulb. Make a slider to change colors.
So damn
Australian English.
I know.
Here we go.
But does it understand that you're saying?
Of course it does. It knows the didgeridoos, mate. So now this is going to go through and go, all right, let's add a slider. And it will now add that slider to change the color of the wall. It'll take a little bit of time to go through. The important thing to call out is it takes time to process because it's going out to the cloud, coming back, and then bringing it back to the device. It's not running on the device. It's running in the cloud. You can run this in GitHub code spaces. So you can just run it in a website. Why is that important? You can use it on your iPad. You can use it on your Mac. Well, the Mac has a native client, but anywhere you can get access to a website, you can use this. So we now have our nice little slider, and we're going to turn it on. Beautiful. Very cool. Right. And we saw how easy that was to add. So how many people have developed a website like that before?
Like that?
Well, not exactly like that, but like with that sort of concept of I need to have a trigger and then a slide and it needs to do action on both.
Personally, that would have taken me about 3 days
Of Googling?
of code,
Yeah.
of code research, and we did it in 2 seconds. Right. I mean, I will honestly say what you just did right there is the best demonstration of AI code generation that I've ever seen. And I mean, I don't go seeking it out, but I'm just saying, you know,
And that's exactly the conversation I have every time I do this type of demo. I sat in a room with a very, very large customer. We're talking 200,000 seat organization. And they're like, Steve, you've sold us on infrastructure as code, but dear God, we cannot for the life of us figure out how to build out this infrastructure as code solution. I'm like, just vibe code it. And they're like, what do you mean? We built out an instruction file, which we'll be doing shortly, where we define explicitly what we wanted the AI to do, gave it rules, gave it code base, gave it the technology, and then just went, go and do it. And we left it spinning. We had our chit chat conversation. Within 20 minutes, it had a working prototype for Purview infrastructure as code. I don't know if any of you have ever tried automating Purview, but it is not on the M365 Graph APIs. It's on Azure. So that's fantastic. That's one big tick of, oh, that's awesome. But then the next part was, it's all separate to each tenant. So you have to put in placeholders, blah, blah, blah. It just handled it. And it was ready to go. And this is part of that conversation of, well, it's not about doing it all the way to the perfect end, because was it perfect and would I put it in production? No. But it got me to the point where I could sit there and go, this is how you're going to speed up your implementation.
but then does anybody know how, so this is, you know, as a one-man person shop.
Yes.
Then I don't know I don't know the code that it just built.
Why do you need to? Do you know the code that's in Windows?
No, but I'm not building code on top of the code that's in Windows. If you're saying this is a prototype implementation,
Yes.
then I have to go and finish the implementation. And I'm just.
Hey,
One of the things we can do via the same methodology, you can have it go through and explain literally every single sentence. So you can have a comment and explain each one of the things, each little line if you really want to. And it will go through and it will be very descriptive. Like the comments that we'll add will help explain it to a layman. Okay.
so
I'm a layman. I've seen it like that.
So all of you that have like grown up where you have to have comments in your code, it's like, yeah, I don't do that because it's declarative. If you can't read it, you don't understand it. That's not my problem. All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's go here and we'll go back over to our demo and we're going to go, all right, you add comments to the code for every section.
You're also being very nice by asking if Kevin.
Yes, I'm polite to my overlord, and I will ask it politely. But if I go here, what should happen now is inside the HTML text, it will go through and comment that all for me. and it'll explain what it's doing, why that section's there, how that works. That's cool, right? But that's just a hello world. What's the problem that we should be looking at? What's the biggest pain points that you guys run into today? Anybody want to give me some ideas of what we should be working on?
The fixed WMI on a computer that still has a messed up WMI.
Anyone else have anything?
How to find all the admin rooms to a group chat, on Teams, pull that up.
Yeah, that's way too complicated.
Okay, well, and that's, working in a middle school with a bunch of kids bullying each other, that's what I have to figure out, so.
Oh, I hear. I understand. I've had to do that myself. So what you're wanting to look at that point is go and look at the SharePoint sites, because you'll see all the sites that were created, and you can see as soon as it turns into a group chat, a SharePoint site's created or used to be created behind the scenes, and you can see the members and you can see what they're doing.
But that's not it's not a SharePoint, it's a group, not in a team. It's just a group chat,
Yes.
you know.
No, I acknowledge.
Because it comes up as exchange messages each time. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we changed it.
then, yeah, it's just because you can't actually get a threaded view out of it. You just get a bunch of individual messages. And when you hand that to a principal, they go, what the hell is this?
Your information, you're welcome. But here's the thing, right? So what you can do with that transcript that you have, you can grab all those individual messages, put them in a folder, point GitHub Copilot at it and go, create me a message chain based upon the timestamps of those files and the messages that are included in there. And it will go through each one and put it into a transcript for you.
But yeah, back to your point, I wanted to pull some stuff from Purview,
Yep.
some stuff from Graph, throw it all together. But
Good commenting?
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Better than I would do.
Yeah.
I want to build an app where a user can go to it, put in their computer name,
Yes.
and it will add their computer name to an Entra ID group.
That is called Entra ID Identity Governance. That's what it is.
I just have one group and I want people to be able
Yep.
to add their computer into it.
Yep.
I don't care who adds their computer to it.
The other option, so all right, I'm going to accept the premise of the problem. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go new chat. I'm just going to undo and continue because I don't care about my website. It's irrelevant. And I'm going to delete this.
it's pretty though.
It was very pretty.
Would
So
it generate the same light bulb every time?
no, every time you ask it to do it, it will do something different. Yeah. Not in a bad way, but it's because I
Because
don't need.
it's creative.
That's right. It's very creative. Yeah. That's one word for it. So one of the things that we do have here, and let me just close this out, is we had our AI PM day this week, where we had all of our highfalutin AI people sitting there and running around and going, oh my God, AI, how good is it? Woo, AI. It was awesome. Yeah. That's actually where I got the light bulb demo from. But one of the things that they highlighted was this product, well, not product, this repo that's in GitHub called Spec Kit. Why Spec Kit is awesome is it will go and build out a group of prompts that will then build out your solution for you. And when I say build out your whole solution, I mean it will write all the code. It creates your tasks, it creates your plans, it does everything. So I've already installed this on the computer, and let's see if I can remember how to actually fire it up. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to terminal. And I'm going to go specify, what was the name of the product you wanted?
I want a product that will make it so that someone can put their computer name in and it will add that computer name to a group, an Entra ID group.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, that. All right. So let's see if it's actually going to magic it and do what I want. Or I need to go and break out into another terminal because I've got the command line wrong. But I've already installed this per the website and it's specified, which is basically an executable that's installed on the device that will then go and build out and hydrate my test environment for me. Well, not my test environment, my build environment. Sorry. It is. Let's have a quick look. I've only been using this for 2 days, so
Init.
I was close. All right. So now you'll see it will come up and go, hey, which is your AI assistant that you're using? So this is an open source solution. And our solution that we're using, believe it or not, Copilot. We can select our scripting language. And in this scenario, we're using PowerShell, but if you're using Batch, Bash, whatever, it's there. So it's gone and created this folder here called add entry group. So I'm going to go here. Let's see if this will just reload. And it did not add the context. Cool. So what we're going to do, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to go here, file, open folder, demo one, add device. The reason why we want to do that is it will reload everything for me. And most importantly, it now adds these suggested actions for me, where we can then go and build out our constitution. So what is our constitution? Anybody from America know what a constitution does for me?
Nothing anymore.
Sorry, shouldn't laugh, not funny. This is where you're going to highlight your guiding principles, highlight everything that you want it to be. But you're not actually saying this is what the product is. This is where you're describing what your tech stack's going to be, how you're going to run it, what your basic use cases are. So I'm going to make my life easier. Now I'm going to walk over here. What's our tech stack? Oh, hang on, I need to click a button. The tech stack. What languages?
I want to use PowerShell.
And it's not working. It's plugged in, it's all working. Let's have a quick look.
I would like to use PowerShell.
Try now.
I would like to use PowerShell.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. My demo doesn't work.
Oh. Did you have to have a cursor there?
No, I should.
Oh,
The previous print stick was awesome.
Yeah. Yes, but there's various problems with this computer I'm not even going to go into.
It's because it's plugged in.
So it should be PowerShell.
Not Dell.
I was gonna say that.
I had to look.
No, it's one of ours. I'll acknowledge that. All right, so it definitely should be in PowerShell, but because we're connecting into Entra and we're connecting into Graph, is there any rules that we should be doing around authentication?
Person accessing it must be authenticated.
Of course, but do we, if we're using PowerShell, do we want to use the modules or do we want to use REST calls?
We do a REST call, then the module gets it.
I know which way I would go, but I'm asking the room.
Which we don't have enough knowledge to even answer that question.
When you go with the REST API call or the module,
REST API every day of the week.
because I hate modules.
So the reason why I will go with the REST API calls is if I then go and offload this to an Azure function, if I go and use it in a CI/CD pipeline, I don't need to sit there and spend 3 minutes waiting for it to load every time I run the command. REST API will just run what I need it to run, and that's it. It should use the OS authentication with only a website. So the reason why I'm calling that out declaratively is what it will default to is a PAT or client ID, client secret, both of which I don't want to deal with. That's a pain in the ass. I just want to go and connect straight using my authenticated account because I have it there. So just use it. Interact with graph. And should be a plot of I've got to have fun with it, right? Got to make it interesting, right? So this is now going to go and build our constitution. Why building a constitution is important is it sitting there and saying, this is the framework that we're working to. This is sitting there and setting the home truths for this solution, for this project. So by stepping through and building that out, you'll note that in the constitution description, we didn't say add users to groups, add devices to groups. No, we're just defining what our tech stack is. We're defining that level of conversation. The next component that we step into is yeah, better than gifts because they work everywhere. Because then you consider so it will actually present it back when you're interacting with it as well. But then what we can do from here with the next step is we step into the plan phase. Sorry, specify phase. I got to get the terminology right. But specify is the next step, which is where we specify what the next feature is going to be. And that next feature is going to be, all right, well, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to go for basics. We're going to go, all right, I need the process to be able to list devices for user and list groups. Most importantly, I am not going to be running this because it will connect to the Microsoft tenant and I'll get yelled at. It actually won't have any problems for the most part. There's going to be issues with OR, but it will work. But why I'm calling this out and running through this is we're sitting there and making it so we don't have to write the code. Oh, I forgot to include all the commenting for you. I'll add that as the next step that we need to. I'll update the constitution to include everything must have commented, and there must be verbose README files for everything because it will do that. By default, at one point, Claude, every time it ran, it created a new README file. It was hilariously frustrating because, like, I don't need every markdown file that you've done. But anyway, this is where the goal for this sort of stuff and vibe coding, vibe presentations, vibe whatever, is about getting you to the 80%. So that looks pretty good. Let's have a little bit of a scroll, see if it finished. I think it did. Yep, the arrow's there. Cool. Got 5 core principles. Happy days. All right, and we're going to go spec. Constitution. Whoop. Must have detailed comments for all scripts and solutions. Oh. So now it's going to go through and it's going to amend the constitution to add the principle about detailed commenting. Easy, right? So this is where you can just iteratively add all of those components. Great. This will take a sec because it's got to go and read all the files and manage it out and work it all out and do the magic. Whereas some of my Indian friends will say, do the needful. And make sure that it's successful. And I can see the people that have worked with people in the subcontinent. So what we're doing here is it's now updated our constitution. One thing you'll note is see how these files are sitting here and being called out, and with the green and the red, that's lines of code that we're editing or adding versus lines of code that we're deleting. I can click on that and it'll take me there and it'll show me what it's done. So let's actually have a quick look at that. So let's go and click on the Constitution. And we'll just close that one out. So you saw how little information I provided, right? And I'm just going to keep all of this because it's just easier. You saw how little information I provided for this. I was very clear. I had 2 sentences, realistically. We scroll through, let's have a look. Here's our constitutional check. It must be PowerShell native with 5.1, which is nice. It's Graph API, device code auth. I'm good with that. We have ASCII art. That's important. We have the observability. So it's always going to do verbose, debug, and warning, and then use what if supported. That's actually a really important thing. It's putting a safety net for us to be able to control that conversation. And then from there, we're calling into the comprehensive documentation comments. But then it stepped into a couple of things that we didn't actually specify, but are so important, which is no client secrets. Do not include secrets in your code ever, please. It's a bad practice and you've got to stop it. But then we have error handling and we have, I don't even know how to pronounce that last word, whatever.
Idempotency.
Yeah, that. But then we're talking about what it looks like, everything associated, and yeah, pretty cool, right? So let's go specify. Pull that out. And importantly, you don't have to full screen this every time you do the chat, but I'm using it so you can see what's going on. So if we go spec, we're going to go specify, it should list all devices for a user, all primary devices for a user. Simple. We've given it a very simple description. And the reason why I'm not sitting here and going, hey, I need to do everything at once is I'll get confused. You always should be incrementally building through these things and breaking it into steps. So it's now going off and doing some Git stuff. Don't really be too concerned about this, but what it's doing under the hood is it's creating a branch in the Git repository to go, this is your new feature. So what you'll see down the bottom here is, see how it says master? That's going to change in a second it is going to change to list devices, 001 list devices. Eventually, you'll get there. Yep, so now you'll see the 001 list of user devices. So this is where it's now going off and creating the full specification for what we want it to do. This is proper 101 development. How many people do this for all their PowerShell scripts today? I know I definitely didn't when I was an IT admin. Not because it was something that I thought was onerous. It was because I didn't realize it made your life easier. As soon as you can sit there and specify and explain what you're trying to do, you can then take these documents and send it to your change team to go, this is what it's doing. You can take it and give it to your leadership and go, this is what I've done. Give me more money. So it helps you build out why you're doing the change rather than just going, yeah, you know what? I'm going to send out this script and it's going to magically turn on the microphone on every computer and it's not going to be a compliance problem at all. No, that is a compliance problem. Please don't do that. But this is part of that conversation of driving that messaging. So Any questions while this process is through? Yes. 100%. So long as you can connect to Power Apps, which you can, because you can create files and then import them in a JSON format. Yes, JSON. I was thinking maybe YAML, but no, it's JSON. So long as you can import it, yes. Realistically, use Logic Apps. That's a different conversation. It's
I
philosophical.
already have 6 years worth of
Yeah, or you can pull some of that in to this and then get it repacked and rewritten and improved, and then just away you go. So yes, is the simple answer. And then you can start turning them into Azure functions or go and use them elsewhere.
upsides of Power Apps.
I assume those upsides would be associated with the licensing model.
No, the licensing model, because I'm still grandfathered. Have a 5 year.
Of course.
But no, it's mostly because it's easy to publish to an iPad app because you're under the Power Apps app instead of actually publishing yourself.
Yep.
So
Well, and this is where what you can do is you can do, yeah, there's some cool stuff you can do around that space. So yeah, it's got our priorities. It's got our functional requirements. It's got our measurable success criteria of what is going to be success and what's not going to be success. You'll see here it has 0 clarification markers needed. That's awesome because it means that we don't have to go off and do a whole heap of additional yes, no questions. But if there is clarifications where the AI is like, oh, this isn't quite right, or there's conflicts, it'll just sit there and go, right, for problem A, give me an answer. And here's 4 options. Select one. It's like you've seen The Simpsons where they've the president and he's sitting there and he's got the 5 plans and it's like warmer, cold. Yeah, it's that. It's literally saying, no, just go this one. You don't need to understand it. Just select this one. Done. Which is what I do. I'm somewhat lazy with this stuff because it's easy. So we go spec kit and we're going to go plan. And this is where it's now going to go and plan out how it's going to build this solution. So we've gone from defining the problem, defining the environment to defining the problem to now let's build out a plan on how we're going to be successful. And this includes test cases to be able to sit there and go, yeah, it's working or not. I'll do everything it needs to do. It shouldn't take too long. But once that goes through, we then go and say, okay, go and create our task list, which is a task list that will be presented into GitHub Copilot that we can sit there and monitor. And then the last step that we run through, which we'll get to in a second, is we just go, okay, implement it. And we don't have to know anything about PowerShell. We don't have to know anything about C#. Nothing. Because it just magically works. So this will get there in a second. So, any other questions while we're waiting for this?
So let's just say, for argument's sake, you did this, you have no idea what it's doing, it's doing something special. But
Yep.
instead of listing devices, because you don't know what the code actually did because you didn't write the code.
Yes.
I'm just, you know,
Yeah, it's a fair question.
you know, and
It's
then you run the code and oops, it just deleted all the devices. when
Yep.
the User ran it, you know.
Yep.
Okay, like, that's my, you know, you have no idea what this code is doing because you don't know what, because you didn't write it, and you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a fair question and a fair assumption that this comes down to, okay, if I was to run this in the production environment inside the Microsoft tenant, I don't have an admin token.
Right.
I don't have the ability to go and change those groups. If you're developing in your environment, you should always start off with read.
Right.
Okay, make sure my token's working properly. You don't have your admin credentials attached to it. This is where you start looking at things like, what do we end up calling it? Local admin protection, where you don't get the golden token, you don't have PIM.
25H2, right?
It's actually in late parts of 24H2, but yes, you should go to 25H2. So how many people here have heard of local admin protection?
That's where basically you're isolating that image, just what you're doing, look on stuff, right? Just in time, right?
Sort of.
So, yeah.
So it's splitting the token. So the traditional model with Windows and the auth model is when you log on with an admin credential, you get the golden token, you get the golden ticket, you can go anywhere you want. Woo, yay! Well, that sounds scary. I've got somebody sitting remote in Australia, connecting to my computer and just randomly making changes. That's a concern. They're not on my network, but they're on my network. So what local admin protection allows or facilitates is splitting that token. So if you're not on the device and not able to use Hello for Business to get the extended security, you can't get that golden token. So all of you IT admins that are sitting there and going to C dollar or C money, as some people call it, that's going. It's a good thing. Please stop doing it. You don't need to be remoting onto customers one-to-one because you know what? They're cattle. Why? Do it at scale. If you need to do something, do it at scale. Remote onto the computer and interact with your staff. Have the conversation of this is why you should be doing it. I understand having a conversation with a 12-year-old might be a little bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, this is where you say, all right, I'm going to take that computer out of rotation and then give you a new computer. But it's changing those business processes and practices from needing to be able to run a PowerShell script across your whole fleet. That's our approach with it all. And importantly, and I think we're public on this one, but that's going to be on by default in the consumer world in the next 2 years. Because it's going to reduce the number of attack vectors that exist. I want to be very clear on that. So you'll see here we've gone and we've written nearly 1,200 lines of documentation because we haven't written a line of code yet. Cool, right? Still going. It takes a bit. I'm sorry. That's why we're going to do some filler and questions, answers. What do we got?
You got one, Steve S. asked, wouldn't it be faster to use ChatGPT online?
Potentially. That's a very good statement.
But you got a framework here, right?
That's right.
I mean, using this.
But this
what's
has
it
a
called?
framework, right?
Yeah.
So this is actually and technically, so long as you can load a container with ChatGPT online, yeah, sure. But does it have an IDE attached to it? Does it have everything else associated with it? No. And could I go and put this up into GitHub code spaces and run the same thing? Yeah. Yeah, it works really well. You got to pay for that though. I can run this locally. But yeah, GitHub code spaces, I can run the same model, same everything, and log into VS Code, open up GitHub Copilot and do all my auth, and it will magically just do the same thing for me. But I like running things locally.
Is it doing it through like Copilot Plus or is it?
It's GitHub Copilot, right?
So this is GitHub Copilot. This will run on Macs. This will run on any device that supports Visual Studio Code.
So you're running VS Code with basically the plugin
Yep.
of GitHub Copilot.
Which is on by default.
Yeah, so it's going to the cloud to do these things and bringing them back to your VS Code.
Well, Spec Kit though is it its own thing or is it predicate of Copilot?
It is its own thing.
So you could use this and then connect up to something like Gemini.
Yeah. Do you want to use Gemini?
No,
Okay, let's use Gemini.
sure.
Do it midstream, huh? Let's
Yep.
see what that does.
Midstream.
So I was using Claude previously. Now we've changed over to Gemini. Okay. Okay. Use whichever language, whichever one makes sense for you.
What's all this crap code?
I don't care.
What just happened?
It can figure itself out. It doesn't matter.
So to use spec, whatever this is,
Spec kit.
to use Spec Kit, you don't actually have to have GitHub Copilot.
You can sit there. So this is using GitHub Copilot, and all of these agents are plugged into GitHub Copilot, just to be very clear. But when we initialized that folder, it came up and asked us what was your AI model that you're using. And there was 10, 15 AI models there. We used Copilot, but you could go and use Claude Desktop, or you could use whichever model that you wanted to, or whichever tool you wanted to. It's an open source solution. And that's it. If you think there's something in that spec kit that should change, just do a pull request. I'm assuming they're going to have some pretty interesting rules around all of the pull requests, and good luck, but I'm not getting involved in that conversation. So now it's generating my task MD file. So what it's actually doing under the hood? Let's go and have a quick look-see what it's actually doing. If we go over here and we go to GitHub prompts. So this GitHub prompts folder is a special folder. It's where you can go in and put prompts for your GitHub Copilot to go and do tasks for you. That's why it asked when we installed it. What are you using? In here, if we go and we're running the task prompt at the moment, this is basically explaining what we're doing in that document. This is the instructions of what you need to do when your user sits there and runs the spec-kit.tasks file. Well, that's actually finished. I'm just going to quickly go over here. And look, it says it's ready for implementation. So we're going to go spec, implement. Now it's going to go and create my implementation. It'll take a bit of time to process, so we're going to set that off to the side. But we have a whole heap of tasks that are predefined as part of this framework that will build it all out for us. Very simple. You step through and it has instructions and it builds it out. The other important file to call out in here is Copilot instructions. Copilot instructions and any file that sits in the .github/instructions folder that has a formatting of --instructions.md. When GitHub Copilot is executed, it will go through and read through every bit of that instruction file and go, oh, okay, these are all of my rules that I have to follow to be able to execute and implement this task. Oh, I need to allow stuff. Yeah, I'm going to be lazy here. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that because that will cause me problems later on. So this is where you can actually set it to auto approve, and you can set it to do auto tests, and you can set it to auto build and do a whole heap of stuff where basically you just let it go as long as it will, cycling, build test, until it's ready to go. But yeah, so this is our instruction file. You'll see that it's calling out that it needs to be 5.1. Oh, actually 7 as well. But then it builds out all of the information associated with that feature that we're building. Oh, no, it didn't work. No response returned. All right, sorry, Gemini. We're going to go to GPT-5. So we can just select whichever language we want. And this is where GPT-5 might be fantastic at building out our documentation, but Claude could be really good at building out our code. So just use the one that makes sense for you. So I know I bombarded you with a lot of information. Does this look interesting?
Yeah. Almost over my head, but it's fast.
Taking much longer than. Like, I just vibe coded this thing, and like, so far we've
100%.
not done, I mean, we've done a lot, but we haven't done a lot at the same time, and it's taken a while.
Well, yeah. So
I feel like you get more with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing that I learned in computer science was, spend much more time planning than actually writing code, which, this spec kit thing brings into the forefront. But I fear that people won't do that. They'll just go to Claude and just type in, make me this app.
100%.
And then what spits out the other end is
Junk. Yes,
constraint.
100%. And that's what I've been doing. Heck, I'm building a tool at the moment, so I'm building an MCP. Does everybody know what an MCP is? Model Context Protocol. We have one node. We have a sort of a hot node. So when you hear people talking about, oh, I have an AI agent running on my device, it's just the fancy name for an MCP. So if we talk about MCP models and the concept on how it works, is traditionally we've had client server. So client is going to be your workstation and your server is going to do stuff. In the MCP model, we have a MCP server, which has a whole heap of instructions. This is my knowledge, my rule set, everything associated. And then I have my MCP client, which is in this case GitHub Copilot via VS Code, or alternatively, and this is where I'm spending a bit of my time, is Claude Desktop. Because then I can use that MCP server and I'm getting information out of the service that we store all of our customer feedback in. I'm doing action on that, so I'm processing it, I'm triaging and turning around to all of my peers and going, you're not using the right naming convention, fix it. You haven't linked this correctly, etc., etc. And it will automatically go and find all of that for me, rather than me going through each record individually and saying, oh, no, that's not right. No, fix that. So it is. That's a very good question. So the way to know that it's asking you a question is it'll change from the stop sign to the arrow down here. That's true.
I always thought MCP was the master control.
Yes. Microsoft Certified Professional.
Oh, wow. That's been a while.
Yep. That just shows my age.
I still have my card. I got my 6-digit. It's quite big.
I know a guy that has a 5-digit that's still in the industry.
4-digit.
Oh, he might have 4. He's pretty low.
Yeah.
He was like early. It's always entertaining when he goes to get his civic exam and all of that, because they're like, you don't have enough numbers. It's like, yes, I do. Leave me alone. Put zeros in front of it. So what it was asking me was around how it kept the token, whether I want a new token every time or keep it separate. Oh, sorry, retain the token or keep it separate. And I just say, yeah, keep it separate. I'm security minded. Now, these are the task lists that were created as part of the tool, but it will go through and just build out the whole thing. Oh. Demo make me look bad.
You said you wanted to be nice to your hair.
Yeah.
Quickly pour their in.
But like honestly, I've been using this for 6 months and it's phenomenal. Like the MCP work that I've been doing, I've rebuilt it 3 times from scratch. And the latest one I started on Wednesday, and I'm now back at production level code. And I have not typed 1 line of code yet. It's all .NET, C#, proper. It's now going off and creating my installer at the moment. So I'll go off and create the Wix and the MSI installer that I can then distribute it to my team with. And I'll go and set up all the Claude config files, everything. I don't need to know how that works. That's irrelevant. Would I necessarily release it publicly? No. But for what we need it for, it's perfect. Because it's simple, it's easy, and it allows us to meet requirements quicker. And that's the goal. But this is where there's conversations around, say, Copilot in Intune. That's great, isn't it? It's fantastic. But why can't I just go and connect GitHub Copilot to it and get all of that same information for $10 a month? I'm not saying you should, but I'm just highlighting that it is a potential. The other thing and why I use GitHub Copilot practically exclusively, because I got access to all the copilots. M365 Copilot, if I go and do the same query against our repo that contains all of the data, it will return 10 items, period. We have over 300 items in there that we need returned. This keeps going until it returns everything. This is an engineering tool where it will just go, all right, let's bear in and get it done. And I'll show you what's going on. But when you start playing around with all of this stuff, you have the ability to see all of the steps and create the messages back and create tools that will go off and make your life easier. So, yeah.
What happens if you ask it to do something with a beta graph API that hasn't been documented anywhere yet?
It'll just do it.
How does it know that?
It'll figure it out. But you want to see something cool?
I'm just, I mean, you know, because there's things, you know, sometimes that some of us, I'm sure, do when we go and look on learn.microsoft.com and oops, nobody's documented this thing yet, and you know.
Yep. I hear you. I hear you more than you think I hear you. So here's our spec. And then assets. That source.
What I've never understood is how some people go out and write a blog about something before Microsoft even puts documentation for it on Microsoft Word.
Yeah, no,
I'm like, how did?
You learn about these documents, how we do words before anyone in the document.
My brother, my mother, that found IC free communication.
I know how he does that. I'm sure there's somebody in this room that knows exactly what's going on there and why that happens, and he's not going to say anything. But you'll see here, these are all the Azure function, all PowerShell functions that's gone and created. Am I going to run this? Dear God, no. I don't want to get in trouble from Microsoft. But it's created a full functioning class, full functioning module that you can go and install and register into your device. Like, that's pretty cool, right? And then you just go and test it. Everybody's got a test environment, right?
Production.
Exactly. Everybody has a test environment. Some people are lucky enough to have it not connected to production. So, yeah, I know. I like rabbiting it.
We all have a test environment. Some of us also have a production environment.
Exactly. So here's our GitHub spec kit. If you want to find it, go and grab it. Do highly recommend it. It's phenomenal. So you're asking about, okay, well, what about if we want to use a random tool off the internet to do something? Something that isn't necessarily well documented or something that is well documented. Let's grab something like PSAD toolkit, and I will be very clear, I have not tested this. I do not know if this will work, but I like flying by the seat of my pants with demos. So let's go and create we're going to open folder, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go PSAD. Select folder. Cool. Yep. I need to package and application using PSADT. Here, and you please. So you'll be very clear, I have not provided the setup files, I haven't provided anything associated. So now it's going to go and say, all right, let me go and figure out how to use this code, what's available, everything associated. I need to allow, of course, So this is super important. Can I sit here and go, yeah, just do whatever you want? In this session, I'm going to say yes, but unless you know what it's going to do, don't auto approve, because you're doing random stuff on websites and tasks and commands, and it can be scary. It can also be really cool just watching it just go woo, woo. But just be careful. So now it's going to go off and find the examples, the structured information, and all the stuff that we need to do. All right. Apparently we're going to install a module. That's cool. It's not what I wanted it to do, but so
Run with /question mark.
no, it doesn't.
I'm just saying that's.
Arguing with AI, one of my favorite things.
So my colleagues who have just come in the room were in the room earlier late yesterday, where I'm literally sitting there and going, no, you're wrong, because it was trying to tell me that the connectors didn't exist or the relationships didn't exist in my data set. And it isn't a problem with the code that it written, it was a problem with the data set. It's like, no, you're wrong, computer. So here you go. It's now explaining everything of how I set it up, what I can do, all of the obscure features that exist inside PSADT. That's pretty cool, right?
So say you had an application that you wanted to package.
Let's select an app, say Chrome.
Yeah, why not?
So, for example, install Chrome
With PSADT.
That is exactly what I was going to put in there. So this is,
With the typo,
Yeah, let's see what it knows how to.
I'll handle that.
Dude, form.
it knew what you meant.
It's cheating, putting you on the side.
So what?
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Give it a program that doesn't have an MSI.
Well, Chrome doesn't. There's also an option with Chrome without the. No, it's using the executable.
That's
Up
the
above it
detection.
was talk.
Capture detection there.
Oh, hang on, sorry, you're
I
right.
decided to install it again. Still, I mean, that's.
Yeah, no, I'm just teasing.
All right.
So Australian spelling.
There you go. Now it's picked up the Chrome exit. Looks pretty right from what I saw scrolling past rapidly, but
That is a detection method for Chrome 129.
actually, let that look.
Off the top of my head, that feels old.
Yeah.
Because Siri, what's the current version of Chrome? Let's see, it's 15.
exactly, but that was what was called out.
Current version of Chrome is 140.
And this is where you can just iterate on what you want. No, it's 142. Go and figure it out. And now I'll say anything above this, I'm happy. All right, so then create. Scripts. So now we'll go off and create those scripts for them. And then once it's done that, we can then turn around and go, all right, well, go and create my Intune wind file. I don't care. He'll figure it out. But where it gets really fascinating is we've been doing this all through the portal, right? We've got a UI and all of that pretty stuff. But this is me going very much off script. My colleagues would sit there and giggle and go, yes, that's what you do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you can go here and go Copilot. Let's see if I've got it installed. I think I installed it. Because you can go and install GitHub Copilot. Yep. Into the command line.
How does it mean you want GitHub Copilot instead of the other 43 Copilot?
Because there's only one Copilot in the command line that's installed.
You had to have that in the command.
Yeah, so I've already pre-installed this. So, yep. So, yeah, it's fine. Trust everything. So you can go here and go model. You know how you're asking about which model I wanted to use? No. Well, these are the different models that I can use. But this is a very simple example where I'm saying, oh, I'm pulling up my command line and I can do something. But if I can go and install that silently, and I can go and put that into an automation platform, does that mean I could go off and link it to an instruction set that goes to PSADT, get the latest version and create my installers based upon the documentation for the application that I provided? I don't know, but I think it would be a fascinating project.
You know, if it was smart enough, you could say, here's the documentation from the vendor for application X. Go package it to silently install using PSADT.
Yes,
That'd be pretty cool.
it can.
Except you may have to be interactive with during the actual PSP.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just.
Depends on how you're setting it
I
up.
don't know what the installer is.
But again,
this
this-
is a silent installer. You
Yeah.
actually have to sit there and click next. Yeah, so that you back.
But again, that's where it's a matter of just testing it out. And if I can sit there and do 80% of my apps by just sending it through an AI bot,
I mean, for my internal developed apps,
Yeah.
every app that we have is an MSI.
yes,
Be able to just say, hey, package this up with PSADT, standard install parameters, boom, done.
well, and here's the thing though, you don't even need the standard install parameters because there's a PowerShell module and a well-known library inside Windows that can go and interrogate that MSI to find out the available properties for that MSI, that then it goes off and does action based upon that.
What's that called?
Hmm?
What's that called?
What's what called?
That module?
I think it's like PSMSI or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is definitely a module for it. where you can literally just point at an MSI at it, or point it at an MSI and it'll pull out all the information. Because an MSI file is just a fancy zip file, according to most devs. But it has a big database sitting over the top of it telling you this is the property file or property table that includes everything associated. It's all when we went back to Orca back in the day. All that fun stuff. But anyway, there's our kit.
Yeah, this reminds me of a small project I did for fun a couple of years ago where I said it was PowerShell code I wrote that would go and look at the MSI, gather the application name, the version, the publisher, and then it would essentially package it in config man. And
Yep.
then it would deploy it out to my test VMs. And it would go to like my specs I had, so like the application name and config name would be publisher, product name,
Yep.
version. The deployment type would be named that. Like this could do all that work in like a minute. We could do it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, it'll work for Intune as well. But okay. This is now going to go and create a script to go and publish it into Config Manager. It's a well-known endpoint.
Yeah, touching on like the constitution concept, you could have a constitution that says everything that goes in the config man is formatted this way, named
Yep.
this way. That's,
Yep. Break out instruction files, and this is where, when you're stepping through, if you use SpecKit as your framework, every time you add an app, you just add it as a new specification, and it just goes and gets captured as a separate branch in your repo. Yeah. It's got a red, so there's an error problem with it, but
why didn't it do site code A01?
P01, you mean? It's C01 and P01. That was the documentation. And S01. Yeah. I haven't, like, I'm looking at that. That should do what you want. I've not tested it. Am I going to test it? No, because I don't have a config manager environment, but it looks pretty good to me.
This config manager did.
But yeah, like you saw how quick that was.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work right away, you can just iterate on that and you're still like at least an hour ahead of where you were. So yeah, this is why I like doing vibe coding, is it's about showing the possible. Cool, right? Ah.
The art of possible.
Exactly. It's the art of how I can make my life be successful and easier with AI. Because AI is here to stay.
What everyone understands that constitution of multiple client secrets in the code, or multiple secrets in the code.
No, but again, this is where
There was a problem before AI.
Yeah, I know,
But it just allows those people, some people who really don't understand it to have.
So yeah, what you actually need at that point, we can offer it to you, but we have Defender for code. So this is where if you put it into ADO or you put it into GitHub, you can go and put Defender for code over the top of it, and it'll look for secrets. So it looks for patterns, etc., and go, no, you've failed. You're not doing a pull into the channel or branch.
Awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's not free, unfortunately, which I think it should be, but that's what it is. But yeah, honestly, if you're not using like source control for all of your scripts and all of that, what's stopping you? It makes your life so much easier. Anyway, I'm way over. Well, no, the networking happy hours.
We're in a happy hour.
Yeah,
This is happy.
Yes.
yeah. Everybody looks very happy and not falling asleep at all.
Mhm.
That's so much free caffeine, I'll be awake all night.
Good.
Straight into it.
But has this sparked ideas of how you could use this in your environment?
Already planned out a whole session for MMS San Diego.
So Greg, this is the session I'm planning
Yeah.
for Boa.
I think it's pretty cool.
You can probably have it plan your session.
You can. So check this out.
And give the presentation.
There you
All right, I'll stick to out packaging, you do whatever else you want.
go. I actually got it to build my deck for me. But the problem is, it was very developer centric because I didn't say the target audience was IT admin. And as soon as you say vibe coding and GitHub Copilot, it goes, "Oh, you're a developer." It's like, no. So that's the important takeaway: is this is not just for developers. And like one of the cool things that I love doing here, and I'm just going to go the whatever, don't care, new page. Can you create me a report on the weather in Redmond for the last 5 days? It'll just go off and randomly give you a report. So it's not just about coding. It will do whatever you want.
Love reading things. Like, can't do this.
It's a-
I can't do
Oh, I
that.
can't do this, I can't do that.
Well,
I should try
maybe
this.
I can do that.
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
Just try some random public websites.
Yeah, I don't care.
So run VS Code in a sandbox.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let me just take here now. Did it even put it in Australian for you?
Yes.
And actually, it's 31.9 million.
What is that in freedom units, please?
All right.
Okay. It knew what it was.
Oh, God. It's much more clever than you think.
It's like, first of all,
There
you're
you go.
an asshole, but let me help you.
This is a pain in the ass, but here you go. There you go.
Then you can turn that around and push it to HTML to make it fancy, colorful.
I'll make a web page that shows it all. Bonus time.
This takes a second.
And now I'll go off and create the website for you.
Yep, so I need a Copilot GitHub license.
Yep. I'm not here to sell you that, but I just want to highlight what you can do with it. And just send Jim my way, I'll show him.
I want to.
Sounds like even random.
No, my token count got reset.
Oh, did it? Okay.
So at 12% right now. I'm really happy. I actually had to change because fun story internally, we have 2 GitHub accounts. We have one that we've created ourselves and one that Microsoft sets up for us in GitHub. And you have to use the one that Microsoft set up to get all of the benefits. So I changed it, but now I get 200% credits. Yeah. And I didn't even get into like the hardcore stuff that you can do in here. I'm not talking about any of the MCPs. I'm not talking about any of the connectors, agents, or tools that we can go and put in there. We touched on prompts for a little bit, but like this is just scratching the surface of what you can actually do with it. Cool. Insert into terminal, enter. Where is my website? Oh. Okay. Didn't like the path. Oh, because it's not path. Stupido. There you go. That's not very interesting.
Looks better than some of the public websites.
Can you add images based upon the weather? Because that's way more interesting. We want to see animation stuff. So now I'll go and rip off some images off the internet and then put them up there for us.
Just your session.
Yeah.
You could sit there all night long and just GitHub Copilot stuff and drink beer.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what he does.
What has me doing this week?
Pretty much. I know. And I would expect nothing less than Mr. Chris Sweeney in the back corner, in from Brisbane, Australia. Make sure you ask him all the questions about Windows security. Especially app control for business, if you've got any problems.
Can I ask you my standing question I've had about 5 years?
Yes.
Go for it. I was going to say the shank is still in my shoulder from my last app control investigation. No, it's not, has nothing to do with app control, but it is security related. Go for it. Windows Hello for business. Yep. How you deal with third grade kids who have no second factor in it. This is my standing question for 5 or 6 years. The only option you have is photo keys or
Pat. No, not Pat. Yeah, Pat's. Not Pat's.
TOTP token.
Right. Yeah.
But unfortunately, yeah, there really is no one. This is the reason I still use convenience bit.
Yep.
So that they can use the Hello cameras on their Surface Pros because I can't. Because I can't do it at scale.
It's a known thing, and
yeah. Well, I just bring it up, whatever I can.
no,
No, it is.
Yeah.
So I worked with that PM team, Derek now. I'd have to look it up for you to actually see when they got to it. They did have a solution. I'm not sure when they got to, but it was a backlog line. Yeah, I mean, there's solutions, but they break all sorts of other security rules. Where you because you don't want to allow bulk enrollment, which I would need to do for people who can't set up the back themselves. Cool. Steve, is this group under NDA? No. Don't tell me anything yet. No. If you've got a minute after the session, because if you do, I'll share with you what has been discussed and like the strategic direction. Right.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's it. Is there any questions in the chat?
Let's see, I don't think so. Really cool. Here, let's see. Can the PSAD source files and MSIs needed that just Chrome be downloaded locally to share automatically?
Yes. I just didn't want to do it to my computer, but you can clone it all. You can. So the question was, can GitHub Copilot download those files for you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. It has the full ability to download. My favorite thing that I'll get it to do is clone repos locally that'll magically then just start using and do stuff with it. So, yeah. Highly, highly recommend playing around with it. And just where possible, when you start playing with it, just use your imagination, just test stuff out, play with it. Even if you put it on a non-production computer and just play with it, highly recommend it. Like, it's well worth the investment, in my opinion. Like, there's few things that I'd pay for myself, and that is one thing I'd pay for myself. Cool. Any other questions? Everybody just want to go home and sleep now because it's been so much information overload.
Good.
Have you enjoyed today? Awesome. Do you think we should try and get back into this building more often? We acknowledge that, and
That's fair.
yes, after doing 5 days on these chairs twice in 3 times in 3 years in a row, we know. So our first preference wasn't this room, just for clarity. We were trying to get in the meeting room out there, but there's logistics that we've got to sort out. But yeah, we see value in trying to get you guys in here more often and meeting our PMs and talking to people, if that's something you're interested in. Awesome.
I'll bring more microphones next
Yes. Well, hopefully we'll be in a better room next time.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that we can talk about, but we won't talk to everybody about, obviously, because that's. No. So you know the one thing that we don't have in this website? Ads.
Tell it to generate your Google Ads account so you can start making money.
It would do that. You know that though, right?
Just see what it does. You say, can you crazy ads?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, punch the monkey ad or.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It does pretty good at taking my jumbled typing and actually understanding what I actually meant. So.
Let's do them all.
Make it look like AOL 1999. See what
So
happens.
any current weather website that will have, two sidebar ads, a banner ad, and a middle scroll ad.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes, I need to-
Could have gone MySpace or.
No, the White House did that.
ICQ,
Oh,
MIRC. And because we own GeoCities, it's definitely going to work with HTML because literally they can just go and get it off the website. No, I just said because it's GeoCities, it would have been HTML back in the
You were
day.
saying your Microsoft buys GeoCities.
No. No. No, we make bad investments, but that's definitely not one of them. While that goes through, yeah. We're just now screwing around. So.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up and hang out. But yeah, thank you, Steve. Been a really good day. Thank you all, Nate, everybody. And
happy to have you guys.
definitely, we'll coordinate for future meetings, especially when, you've got groups that are gonna be around and available, we'll take advantage of too. So,
Yeah, and hopefully we don't plan it for 2 weeks before Ignite again.
yeah, well, hopefully a couple of them got to do a dry run. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. At least one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't include all of the content. That's why it ran a bit short.
Yeah, that's all good. I think we had enough questions to get it to the end. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And please make sure you take pizza with you.
Yes, please. All right, Kathy, always thinking. Well, somebody's taking a box or two, but yeah.
Take as much as you want.
Where's Steve Jam looking at?
Yeah.
He always takes our leftover pizza because he
Yeah.
has all the kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel bad he went to the wrong place.
I don't.
I did tell him to blame it on you, and he said, I'll blame it on Steve. So,
I'm comfortable to acknowledge that blame.
yeah. I'll blame it on Teams Premium, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had that feature to book rooms like that.
I'm pretty
Do
sure,
events
I don't know
like
if I can go in and look at it now, but I'm pretty sure that, I tried to adjust the the reply and reminder messages, and it told me I couldn't.
I had to get Teams Premium because some of the translation stuff.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
That's a critical feature of my.
Yep. What I would say is watch this space on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Website
don't you
stuff.
always love it when you release a product that takes away some other team's product sales?
Mhm.
Not just a- Well, no, other team. No, I mean, yeah, like it's not just the team's old computer. Oh, yeah. Quite a few orders. Oops, I just took away all your revenue.
Yeah, there's no edit button for any of the emails. I can
That
only
sucks.
preview them. Yeah, it's
Funny
funny.
static view on, but anyway.
Yeah, too crazy.
Evidently. You see something there, huh?
Oh, whatever.
Oh, well.